Now tonight, we're live from Manusabata Desawe Kanda, also live on TV3 Ghana on Facebook and on 3FM 92.7. Tonight, yet another chief destooled by the Otumfo Seitu the second Asantehen in the Ashanti region, partly for his reported involvement in illegal mining. Should a lot more of this be encouraged, especially empowering the chiefs to take charge in the fight against illegal mining? That's the question tonight. Also, the National Education Forum Committee takes dialogue to market women in the Middle Belt in a bid to solicit views on reforming Ghana's education sector. We'll hear from a member of the committee what came out of that interaction earlier today. Stay with us. Also, newly sworn in Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Johnson Bapandit Esiama, gives an indication of reforms he will seek while in office. We assess these policies. We also have a release from the Foreign Affairs Ministry concerning matters of the visa application and the stress that Ghanaians go through. Also, we have more, including some clashes in the Boko area, an update on that. And as always, you're an integral part of the conversation. Let's hear from you. The hashtag we're using is Ghana Tonight on Facebook and on X. Let's get talking. Let's settle for Ghana Briefs.
The family of Florentia Nabole Nelson, who met her untimely death through gunshot in a ceremony to instill her husband and her as chief and queen, have cited medical negligence partly for the tragic event. Members of the family seeking justice pleaded with law enforcement to release her body for her burial in accordance with Islamic tradition.
We are seeking justice. We are seeking justice. Once one question, police will na me question, one one question amomo. One chat one one kamole.
We heard the suspect has been arrested, but we as a family haven't seen him. We need to see him and ask him why he did that.
A violent clash between students of Boko Senior High School and Boko Technical Institute have left some students injured. The incident happened during a ceremony organized by traditional and schools authorities to end recurring clashes between the two schools. With just 2 months into 2025, there have been common incidents of senior high school students involving themselves in physical fights, sparking growing concerns. The minority in Parliament have accused the Minister for Communication, Samuel Nate George, of acting in excess of his powers. This follows an order by the Minister for the closure of 7 radio stations across the country. The minority are calling for the Minister to appear before the House to provide explanation.
The Minister must come to this House. He was approved by this House. He was given the mandate by this House. He must come and report to this House. We need to hear from him where he's getting those powers to direct the NCA to take such draconian actions. And I hear people say, during your time, you closed down Radio Gold. These are baseless defense. I hear people say, you closed down radio stations, you closed down Radio Gold. Even if it is the case, must we repeat the mistakes? We mustn't do that.
Deputy Education Minister nominee Dr. Clement Apak says government will tackle challenges in the implementation of the free senior high policy to enhance quality. Despite commending the policy's intent, he noted that persistent struggles in the rollout have affected its effectiveness. At his vetting, the Busa South legislator hinted that new plans are being introduced to improve the policy.
free senior school program policy is a good policy. The challenge that we find with it, for which we have spoken about improving and sustaining it, in other words, reviewing it, we need to take another look at the policy implementation so that we can address them to maximize the benefit that we are already driving from the program.
President John Dramani Mahama has given the strongest indication of his commitment to fiscal discipline to avoid compelling the central bank to print money to finance government expenditure. Speaking at the swearing-in ceremony of its governor and first deputy, he cautioned the bank against any act that runs contrary to good governance and unregulated central banking.
As president, I'm committed to ensuring that the central bank operates free from political interference, guided solely by its mandate. This is the path to building a resilient economy, one where policies are driven by discipline, foresight, and the best interests of the Ghanaian people. One thing for sure, I'm not going to come and ask you to print more money.
That's more news on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Ghana Tonight. Coming up next, a new governor of the central bank. New strategy rolled out today to run the Bank of Ghana and the Ghanaian economy. We'll hear from Dr. Johnson Isiama, who earlier today was sworn in by the president, and what he has up his sleeves, what he intends to do for the next 4 years as the governor of the central bank. Well, the newly sworn-in governor earlier today, Dr. Johnson Isiama, has revealed plans to introduce some new foreign exchange laws as part of efforts to strengthen the country's banking sector. It's one of the many reforms that he intends to pursue, but let's first of all take a listen to the president earlier today when he swore him and his first deputy into office. And first off, but let's establish exactly what the vision and also the objectives of this new governor of the central bank is. Let's hear from Dr. Isiama. Take a look.
Through responsible financial sector governance, digital transformation, and sound economic policies, we will create an economic and financial system that is transparent, that is predictable, and that is stable.
Transparent, predictable, stable. So those are the three major areas of focus. And I'm going to run through the 6 pointers that the new governor of the central bank is going to focus on as his policy perspective. But this is what the president, John Dramani Mahama, said as well earlier today when he swore him, that's the new governor, and his first deputy into office today. Take a look.
As president, I'm committed to ensuring that the central bank operates free from political interference, guided solely by its mandate. This is the path to building a resilient economy, one where policies are driven by discipline, foresight, and the best interests of the Ghanaian people. One thing for sure, I'm not going to come and ask you to print more money. Bank of Ghana had the opportunity to salvage some of these institutions to protect people's livelihoods while ensuring stability, but instead, an approach that ignored human consequences was what was made. Ghana's financial sector is in crisis, and the task ahead demands experience, foresight, and decisive leadership. With Dr. Isiama heading the Bank of Ghana, I am confident that we will rebuild trust in the institution, will restore stability, and put our economy back on a path of sustained growth.
So that's President John Dramani Mahama there. Also, his charge to the new governor of the central bank: restore stability and put some confidence back into the Ghanaian economy. But then again, when you talk about his agenda of resetting the economy and then also considering the fact that we are still under an IMF program, the whole idea and objective of resetting the economy, this man, Dr. Esiama, has the singular charge to lead the central bank, to play its role in the president's agenda of resetting the economy. And this is his 6-point master plan for economic stability. Dr. Esiama says, one, he's going to utilize advanced data analytics and AI, artificial intelligence, to improve inflation control and policy coordination. That's number one. The second thing that he talks about is stabilizing the exchange rate by implementing a new forex law, leveraging gold reserves, strengthening foreign asset management. And bear in mind, we already have a foreign exchange law, but he's talking about a review of it, and in fact, a new foreign exchange law, which would now also look at other areas and how things are playing out on the global economy, especially because when the dollar suffers or grows or goes up in terms of its strength and performance, it directly impacts on the city. We've seen what is happening with the global economy now, and also the policies that Donald Trump is putting in place to strengthen the dollar by the day, and the war, the global trade war between the US and China, how that also impacts on developing economies like Ghana and our monetary policies as well. And the whole talk about whether Ghana should consider this whole BRICS idea, monetary policy certainly plays a role in this, and he is well aware of this, and he talks about it. Now, the next matter that he says is going to be his master plan, number 3, is to strengthen the financial sector by reducing non-performing loans, enforcing regulations, and improving risk management. That is key as well, because non-performing loans was a major issue, and it's still a major issue for the banking and the financial sector. Look at the last report that the Ghana Association of Banks put out there. The non-performing loans not looking any good, especially for commercial banks. So what is the way forward? What is the policy that has to be put in place to stem this? That's the question that the central bank governor intends to answer. Boost financial inclusion by expanding digital service and establishing a clear framework for fintech and digital assets as well. And this was big as well with the former vice president, flag bearer of the MPP, Dr. Mahmoud Bamia, also pursuing digitalization as an agenda. You see that also finding a space in this master plan as well, enhancing fiscal and monetary policy coordination while maintaining the central bank's independence of the central bank. And you heard the president himself, John Dramani Mahama, reiterate the point about the independence of the central bank, that he's not going to come to them to print more money. That's instructive. But then again, that's not the only one. He says they're going to restore the Bank of Ghana's financial position through cost-cutting, austerity measures, and policy to reverse negative equity. Well, in this country, and the central bank posting unprecedented losses. And the explanation was that they had to take a chunk of the impact of the domestic debt exchange program. And that's why. So the Bank of Ghana itself needing some recapitalization. Understand some $250 million government is seeking already in that regard. Joe Jackson is the CEO of Delex Finance, financial analyst, joining us on Zoom right now. Mr. Jackson, appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. I ran through this 6-point master plan by Dr. Esiama as the new governor of the central bank. I wonder how that strikes you.
Well, thank you. First of all, I must say that we've known Dr. Johnson Esiama. He's been in the Bank of Ghana for some time, and we know him as a fine gentleman. So, in a lot of ways, he's expressing what he's supposed to do. And I'll explain it this way. It may be interesting for you to know that the only person that the Constitution mandates to keep the stability of the cedi and to make sure he keeps the general level of prices, which means he keeps inflation low, is the governor of the central bank. And that sometimes some of the things that we hold the Minister of Finance responsible for may not necessarily be his remit. His remit is to manage the finances of the government, that is the Minister of Finance. His remit is to manage the finances of the government to achieve its own policy goals. The governor is to make sure the cedi is stable, make sure the prices don't go up, in collaboration with the Minister of Finance, and sometimes in support of the Minister of Finance. So therefore, when the governor comes and he says he wants to review the FX regime, we must say, well done, sir. Because he is definitely conscious of the fact that that is one of the things that he's mandated to do under the Constitution. And when he says, I want to maintain stability of prices and target and make sure inflation is kept under control, I say, well done again. That is what you're supposed to do. In fact, some of us may even feel that the elephant in the room every time we talk about inflation is the central bank itself, who in times past has funded deficits of the government to such levels, as we say, it is sabotaging its very mandate that has been given to it by the Constitution. So if this new central governor comes with a renewed zeal, with a renewed vigor, wanting to do his work the right way, we say, well done, welcome, and we wish you the very, very best. And we salute you. And we hope that the energy, the zeal, the commitment that you have indicated to us today would remain in spite of the challenges in the days ahead, because definitely there'll be challenges in the days ahead.
See, you say definitely there's going to be challenges there in the days ahead with respect to the economy. I mean, that's a very emphatic statement. It's non-negotiable. We should expect challenges in the days ahead with respect to the economy. And that is what you want the central bank governor to embrace, that reality and begin to think about what to do next.
It is to be expected. Listen, it is to be expected. Anybody who thinks that running this country, which is just coming out of the doldrums, just coming out of one of the worst, a generation-changing crisis, is going to have it easy, is wrong. We are not going to be able to laugh our way out of this. We're not going to spend our way out of this. We're going to have to take some hard decisions. We're going to have to take some pain. And yet, we will come out if we do the right thing. So that there'll be challenges ahead is definite. That he has started off on the right note, we give him credit for.
It's a very important point that you make there, and we saw the policy direction of the previous governor of the central bank, Dr. Addison, who after the DDEP and then also the impact of all that was happening on the global market, on the economy, decided to pursue inflation targeting, using monetary policy to control inflation and the impact on us all, and in fact the cost of credit and so on. There are different views about whether that policy really had far-reaching impact as was expected. Now, from where you sit, aside these 6 master plans that the new governor has put across, will the inflation targeting be one that you would expect this new governor to still consider or pay attention to going forward?
Listen, every governor must maintain stability of prices. Every governor must put inflation in a certain target zone and achieve that target. There's no negotiable. It's in the Constitution. The problem is when the governor or the regime that the central bank loses sight of this all-important objective and then funds deficits of the government to the point where it sabotages that general stability, targeted inflation, that's when we have a problem. There is nothing wrong with inflation targeting. There's everything right with inflation targeting. The problem is that don't sabotage it yourself. Don't allow the fiscal policy end. Don't allow the profligate spending of politicians to influence you to punish the whole of Ghana with inflation.
I see. But well, you heard the president say that he is not going to come to them, as in the central bank, to ask them to print more money. That was an emphatic statement from the president. So if you're talking about mistakes made and the central bank themselves sabotaging their own objectives because of a political direction or a directive from the president, or President John Dramani Mahama says he's not going to do that. How does that get to you as well?
Listen, I tell you this. When I heard that, my heart, it sunk. Because when you get it from the top, and when they follow through with that commitment, you'll be surprised how quickly we will get out of the mess we are in. If they don't follow through, God save us all. Listen, all the right noises are being made. All the right beginnings are being initiated. And so we are hopeful. We are hopeful that the managers of this economy will lead us out of the mess that we are in and that we are just about to get out of now.
Mr. Jackson, appreciate you for this. Thank you for joining us here and that reality check of how the coming days will look like, and then also how that ties into the 6-point master plan of the new governor of the central bank. Dr. Siama is live here on Ghana Tonight. We're back right after this. And coming up next here on Ghana Tonight, Asante Otumfuo to the second continues to distool sub-chiefs within the Asante Kingdom who engage in illegal mining. The recent one being the Orin Hene. That's we have more on this coming up here on Ghana Tonight. And the Orin Hene, we understand, is the latest to be the one who has been distooled by Asante Otumfuo to the second, Nanakusi by the second, and bringing his 16-year reign to an end. Now, this is not the first time we're seeing this, but let's just get to the Ashanti region right now, specifically the Opimswo Radio and Opimswo TV, that's radio platform for that's the palace, put out this video earlier today detailing exactly what Otumfuo the second said in the process of communicating the decision to distool this chief. Take a look.
Taya wakunya bosumom de bae taya.
Say you are saying say taya wakunya bosumom de bae fe taya.
Ofridencha.
Say ofridencha.
Obedru akropon hin na be ma.
Job.
Odi na abontin don hin okuti.
Say bedru ye akropon hin na be ma na bontin don hin. Nsu be si ye.
Oto ope be bia.
Say ba ye say ope bia chance to mo a.
Oti hade ohwim hin asa.
Say be hade bo hade za se bi de ha.
Hade ohwim hin na asa.
O say hade ohwim hin na asa so ha. This is what I'm doing for Manyanza.
On the tire call him the what you quadra home.
So, Sabataya, do call him what you quadra home.
Oh, the ball, something say to a man.
So, by the ball is on, something say to a man.
Oh, man, fair baby man.
But the ball really, something doesn't idea. Was it so really a part of your banana?
I want more time. I was able to look.
I see the home, or the Sabataya, what I was something. John, send one some Abadayaka.
Nataya was a four.
Nataya was a four. The best one about the Wamba home.
you dance here. So una yena nan mo besi una na so.
Sepaye abana ohwimini se asmamba the same number wo de besi so de ko santene ho.
You dance here no abeka.
Se be you dance here no abeka wo yewra nim.
Wo say
Yo.
This anya mo million eduosi as sika bisa.
Yo, sebaye wo se san se be so ko na ko na so. Abeka so se a cho mo nisem ado beka wo se sade mo ma bisika mi wo lu si ansa.
There's me kwa mensa ase nyina kra. Otufo ajeje amagima achi no mo.
Sebaye no ka cho mo kwa so se. Nsa ase nyina se be opeso Adja ba dimanche no ke ka ho nyina.
Se mo afeska na amade am de me dia dance bia.
Se mo afeska na amade a. Mi go di dance bia mamo.
Abia wo nim say no kra se wo mu na ye dia.
Pa se wo mu se no kra. So mo tell you asifo no mo dia.
Enu ba ye ti ansem asa apie mu.
O se no kwa ba. Se me ko to hene. Kan se ma asa apie mu wachiri.
A fracture, baby.
Some fracture, baby. Tantan.
Now, baby, your day.
What's in my fantasy? Oh, no, day.
What you question, and I put an artist or
you're so much I put an artist or you're any.
Or you be mammy.
Or you be my subject, or
you be my son.
Or you be my son. My friends, you and my son, I need that. Young,
what you question? Would do with him in the
Well, so that's what Tumfo say to the second. And for those of you who have been following him in this particular regard of getting his chiefs to be responsible and in the fight against illegal mining, this is not the first video of this nature you have seen. Well, you hear him chronicle a number of events leading to this decision to distool the Ohim chief. It comes on the back of multiple offenses he was found to have committed, including desecration of the Great Oath, extortion, illegal sale of lands, as you heard of 247 say, and illegal mining as well. Now, he was found guilty during the Kumasi Traditional Council meeting on the 24th of February, prompting the order for his immediate distillment by the King of the Asante Kingdom. Now, the substantial case for which he was summoned, from what we're getting from our correspondent on the ground, before the king, had to do with the desecration of the Great Oath. However, many other individuals, including a royal who is named as Ba Penying, that's his sister, the family head, and the former BMSO, Dikro, brought additional allegations against him. The chief was also found to have falsely testified in a chieftaincy dispute involving Adede. So these are the issues we understand from our reporters and correspondents in the Ashanti region led to this decision. Now, this is not the first time that Antonio 247 has distilled his chiefs. Let's do a quick recall, chronicle some of the cases gone by. Take a look at this. On the 22nd of November, we put out this story. That's on the 23rd of August, beg of pardon, that's Antonio 242 distilled the Bekwai Abodom Nana Saforo Koto for involvement in illegal mining. On the same month, the next year, 242 the second distilled the Jasehin of Sabronum Nana Jau Bafo Tuning. That's Achiamehin, Nana Osei Kojo, Bemuhin, Nana Tebri Jansa. All these three were distilled by 242, the second, for their involvement in illegal mining in August 2024. Then we're talking about the Ohimhin today. In fact, that communication was put out yesterday by 242, the second, distilling the Ohimhin for partly one of the reasons for its involvement in illegal mining. Darrell Bosu is the Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, one of the foremost environmental NGOs that we have in this country. He's joining us on Zoom right now. Darrell, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight.
Good evening, Alfred. I hope everything is okay with you.
All is well. Thanks for asking, except that our forests, we understand, 44 of them are under siege by illegal miners. And so hearing the 246 to do this again, following up on many that he has done previously, I mean, how does all of this get to you, and how can really we strengthen the chieftaincy institution to play that effective role in the fight against illegal mining?
Thank you, Alfred. And I think we are seeing a trend, and I must say that the Otum for Asantehene is really showing us how to really name shame, and then these two, he's doing all of this together. And considering the very revered position our chiefs hold in this country, they might not necessarily be in government, but they are a very recognized institution at the local level, at the community level, at the regional, the paramountcy level, to the extent that no political entity undertakes any activity without consulting with them. So it tells you that they really have a very strong role to play in our society. And when you go to the communities, even before anybody gets to undertake any land-based activity, even if the chief doesn't own the land, you still have to go and see the chief. So I believe that the chiefs have a very significant role. You can't take that away from them. And Otumfuo is demonstrating how that can be effectively harnessed to really support government in the fight against galamsey. Now, if you look at what Otumfuo has done today, it brings to about 5 chiefs that he has distilled himself. I could be wrong. I'm sure there are more that we might not know about, but this brings to 5 some of the chiefs that he has already distilled as a result of issues or matters relating to galamsey. And I really like the way Otumfuo, he has been I would say, a stalwart when it comes to issues like this, leading traditional role in the way we manage our natural resources, in the way governance is actually experienced by Ghanaians and all of that. So it's very, very encouraging. And I think what is important is that other chiefs will learn from it. Now, Alfred, I think I need to also mention that we are actually seeing a certain trend. I mean, since the last time Otumfuo distilled about 3 chiefs last year in August, but as you mentioned, we've seen some other chiefs take certain steps. You recall somewhere early this year, the Wenchi Paramount chief also ordered companies involved in galamsey to also move away or vacate his jurisdiction. And then we also saw how the Awin Traditional Council has also come up very strongly against illegal mining activities in the Tano and Ria Forest Reserve. And I think that if you also want to really continue with this kind of trend, we also heard Ochehene talk about giving illegal miners up to 28th of February for them to vacate Forest Reserve and all rivers within the Eastern region. So I think that there is a certain trend. The chiefs are rising up to the role that we have been expecting them to play. And I think that they can't just continue and leverage this to really support the renewed fight against galamsey.
Call to the chiefs will be that this is Otumfuo say to the second, really. I mean, so he has the power and that authority to do what he's doing. Can that be said for all the other chiefs as well, where illegal mining is taking place? Can they also exercise the same amount of authority as we've seen?
I believe so. I mean, yes, you have said how, I mean, we all know the power of Otumfuo, but I think that all the other chiefs as well within their respective jurisdictions and within the right as paramount chiefs, they have a certain level of control at the traditional councils that they supervise and where they are overlords of. So I believe that they also have the same power. The question rather is if these chiefs are also going to invoke these powers that they have. I mean, a lot of it also depends on the credibility they exude when they try to invoke such powers, the confidence that the public has in them and all of that. So I think it's also about the trust. I mean, there's also this element about perception, because if you go to certain communities, yes, you hear certain chiefs talk about galamsey, But among the community people, they have the perception that the chief himself is even behind those people who are undertaking some of the illegal activities. So when they hear that the chief wants to do certain things, you see the youth taking sides, supporting certain chiefs over others and all of that. So there's a lot to do also with perception and the confidence and trust that people have in the chief before they can respect this kind of authority being exercised, as we have seen Otunfo exercise very recently.
I mean, and hearing, and tied to this, hearing the environment minister, in fact, the lands and natural resources minister last week, talk about the fact that some 44 forest reserves have been encroached on by these illegal miners. And a number of them, 9 of them, the Forestry Commission guys cannot even have access to them because these illegal miners have taken absolute control of them. What strategy do you expect going forward should inform this new or renewed fight against illegal mining?
Yes, Alfred, I think you've hit on a very important note here. So, but before I really respond, I think we all need to understand that we actually have more than 44 forest reserves that have been impacted by galamsey. I'm sure this one has to do with those that are at a level where it's so serious that management of the Forestry Commission really are at a loss how to handle the situation. But I know that most forest reserves have been affected because there's some level of illegal mining activities. And that was why we came very strong against the former Minister for Lands and Natural Resources when he declared that the ecological integrity of Ghana's forest reserve was intact, which for us was misrepresentation of the fact. So I believe that with the renewed fight against galamsey, seeing the posture of the new government, I think what the chiefs can do is really to rally behind every action the honorable minister, the state agencies, the Forestry Commission are taking. Because I believe that there is no way anybody can get to any community to undertake illegal mining activities or even get close to a forest reserve without the chief being in the know. So I believe that the chiefs have a lot to offer. They only need to be very truthful, they need to be very committed, and they also need to clear this negative perception that we've had about them. And then I believe we can really put a lot of confidence in them to really support the fight. Otherwise, people are always going to play the blame game and say that the chiefs have power, but they are refusing to use it. Also because they know, the chiefs know that they benefit in a certain way from the illegal activities going on. Because we have information that some chiefs are in the habit of taking some payment from the illegal miners even before they go to do their illegal activities. So we need to really build that confidence within the citizenship and the populace so that chiefs can really play the role that they are expected. And in Ghana, we all know how reverence we give to the chiefs, particularly when they decide on issues relating to land.
Darrell, appreciate you for this. As always, thank you so much for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. This is a conversation that will continue every step of the way until we see that considerable level of improvement in the fight against illegal mining. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate you. Darrell Bosso is Deputy Director of Arocha Ghana, an environmental NGO here in Ghana. And right after this quick break, coming up after the break here on Ghana Tonight, it was the turn of market women to make their input for reforms in the education sector. What exactly have they been saying? Market women and also the mechanics in the Bono and Ahafo regions. Stay with us. We'll tell you after this quick break.
Mommy. Michelle say, fe.
Different era, better result. Time has changed and time has brought Kel Charcoal Toothpaste, healthy gums, anti-cavity, fresher breath, and it whitens teeth. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste. Sankofa.
Yenchi. Kel Chocolate Toothpaste.
Happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
If whiskey could talk, Johnny Walker Black Label would sing. With notes that only come with 12 years in a barrel. Sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior. You know, 1 bucket of Flamingo paint is equal to several buckets of any other paint brand on the market. Flamingo paint, superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage. Flamingo paint, simply superior.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kel Kids Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kel Kids, happy smile.
Every step of life's unpredictable journey. Every moment counts. That's why you need a partner you can always trust for solutions, so you can be rest assured. Having impacted over 200,000 lives, processed over 4.2 million claims, partnered with over 400 corporations, paid out over 836 million Ghana cedis in claims, contracted over 1,600 healthcare facilities nationwide, and pioneered several innovations like free medicine delivery, an interactive mobile app, and more. You'll be surprised what can be accomplished in 20 years. We're part of the Nationwide family. Are you? Nationwide Medical Insurance. 20 years of leading the way.
If whiskey could talk, Johnny Walker Black Label would sing. With notes that only come with 12 years in a barrel. Sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
If whiskey could talk, Johnny Walker Black Label would sing. With notes that only come with 12 years in a barrel. Sweet, smooth toffee, rich fruit, and a touch of smoke. Tastes as good as it sounds.
Drink responsibly, not for sale to persons under 18 years of age. Not recommended for pregnant women. This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back. This is Ghana Tonight. Now, coming up next on Ghana Tonight, it was the turn of market women to make their input for reforms in the education sector. What exactly have they been saying? And we've got videos and pictures, as a matter of fact, of the engagement that the National Education Forum Committee members earlier today engage market women and some spare parts dealers in Bechem and Sunyai in the Middle Belt, and that's in the Bono and a half regions, to solicit their views for educational reform. So there you see there on the pictures, you have some NGOs there as well, some traditional leaders, the police, that's the police service. You also had these market women you see on the screen there, all of them taking part, sharing their views, the yam seller, so sharing their views about their own expectations of the reforms to take place in the education sector as well. So you also see the mechanics as well, also sharing their views and their expectations, what they want to see reflected in the education sector reforms to take place. And these are the members of the committee also interacting with these spare parts dealers, mechanics, market women, all these others in the Middle Belt. Kofi Asari is a member of the Education Reform Committee, going around soliciting views from Ghanaians across the country. Joining us on Zoom right now. Kofi, appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here on Ghana Tonight. First of all, I want to find out from you. We see that you've been moving around, talking to all these interest groups that I talk about. And what were some of the issues that came to the fore?
Well, we had our first engagement at the Sunyani Technical University for stakeholders from 4 regions: Bono, Ahafo, Bono East, and then the Western North region. The regional minister for Bono was in attendance, and then we had a cross section of stakeholders from religious bodies, trade associations, PTAs, students, teachers, teacher unions, education managers, and NGOs in education, disability groups. A cross section of education stakeholders participated. I mean, about 600 people attended, security agencies, etc. And then after the engagement yesterday, we had a separate engagement for the garages. We went to the Sunyani magazine and met with the artisans of the Garage Association and had engagement with them, all categories of artisans, mechanics, electricians, sprayers, etc. And they also had opportunity to share with us the challenges they're encountering in providing education in the informal sector to artisans, and how they propose to strengthen their relationship with government and enhance the quality of skills development they provide to our youth. Bear in mind that the artisans are also TVET practitioners. The apprenticeship sector of TVET, I mean, is the largest. Apprenticeship trains about 70% of our TVET practitioners, with the remaining 30% being handled by our technical schools. And so, given that the government has a national apprenticeship program as one of its promises, we saw that the inputs they made into the education forums process were very, very critical to improving the quality of skills training and apprenticeship, and also relationship between government and then.
And Kofi, you talk about the engagement with a lot of these groups, and we see as well that the scope of the engagement really has been expanded. We see the market women, you take the microphones to them to record their views and expectations of this education reform. The spare parts dealers, mechanics as well. What are the topmost expectations that they shared with you about the reforms they want to see in our education sector?
Well, today, when we met the market women in Bechem, we went to Bechem market. It was a market day. We had a long session of engagement with a lot of them. The first issue the market women, the artisans are raising about the education system is the need to first maintain the free senior high school in its current form. That's the foremost issue that cuts across all the informal sector engagement. The second is that while they want the free senior high school policy maintained in its current form, they want an immediate end to the double track system. And they want an immediate action to improve the quality of food served in our schools. So these are the 3 big ticket issues engaging the informal sector. The fourth is the issue of indiscipline in our schools. And they are worried that our schools are gradually becoming, a haven for indiscipline, violence, radicalization of our youth, etc. And then the fifth is teenage pregnancy. So those are the 5 key issues that have emerged from the artisans and also the market engagement that we've been involved in. I must admit that one issue, even though we started the informal sector engagement in Volta region, there's one peculiar one peculiar thing about the Bono and then HAFO engagement. They kept raising the issue of government impression upon WAEC to release their results. And that happens to be one of their major issues in secondary education. We know that WAEC has withheld a number of results, thousands, tens of thousands of results, as a result of a suspicion of being involved in examination fraud or collusion. And we all know also that these regions, constitute the hub of examination practice in Ghana, examination malpractice in Ghana, if you appreciate the terrain very well. So it's not surprising that one thing they are calling on government to do is to talk to WAEC so that WAEC will release their results for them, because majority of the schools in these areas have their results affected by the withheld result that WAEC is investigating for alleged irregularities.
These you talk about the market women and these mechanics all saying that they want the free senior high school to be maintained in its current form, and they also want an end to the double track, and then also improve feeding. Now, if you talk about the free senior high school being maintained in its current form, did they say that they expect that government would continue paying in full for the policy while also addressing all the others?
We had some market women indicate that even if government cannot, and they have to support government in improving the quality of feeding, they are prepared because they want to see their children eat good food, instead of they sending money all the time to complement feeding. And so it tells us that they are worried about the quality of food their children are eating. It's as simple as that. They want to see their children eat good food. And if government can't, and it takes them to support government to ensure that their children eat good food, they are prepared because they are children. I must admit, Alfred, that the concerns we are eliciting or receiving from informal sector stakeholders resonate with the outcome of a poll that we conducted in December ahead of the elections in partnership with Global Info Analytics. We did a poll in December asking voters what were the 10 key issues they wanted the next government to handle or to address when it comes to free senior high school. In that poll, of the 10 issues that were raised, the first was the double track. About 49% believe that the first issue that should be tackled was the double track. The second was feeding in senior high schools. So it is not surprising that double track and feeding is also high on the agenda in the informal sector engagement. It tells us that the most important reform that citizens really do require in secondary education are first feeding, because for that study, 49% of respondents believe that the first issue should be feeding. 17% of the respondents believe that the second, the next most important, the most important issue is double track. And then the 11% believe that the most important issue was the cost of prospectus and the hidden cost of school. 9% believe that it was infrastructure. 4% believe that it was congestion in dormitories. 4% believe that it was indiscipline. 4% believe that it was school placement. So if you look at the ranking of the priority that the citizens expected the next government to attach to the challenges in senior high schools, on top of the agenda has always been feeding and then double track. So it's not surprising that the market women, the garages, the spurious, all the artisanal groups we are engaging are mimicking the outcome of our December poll, which had about 5,000 voters participating in.
And interesting developments there. And Kofi, we'll stay every step of the way with you on all of these rounds and engagement that you're doing. And we would update our viewers and listeners on 3FM 92.7 as well. Kofi Asare is a member of the Education Reform Committee. They're going around soliciting views from Ghanaians about the expectations of the reforms that this government intends to implement. And some of the expectations you've heard him share with us, market women and all. But before we go, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs is urging all embassies and high commissions in Ghana to put in place appropriate and humane conditions at their embassies. We're going to put some pictures on the screen right now. According to the ministry, the move forms part of complaints such as no conducive waiting areas, non-availability of emergency services. We also have long waiting times for appointment dates, as well as challenges in using visa application websites. And these pictures we're showing you are just ones that, if you would find online of some of these visa application centers where you have Ghanaians who queue, mostly under the sun, and exposed to all forms of harsh weather conditions in the process of applying for visas to get out of this country. Well, this has caught the attention of the Foreign Affairs Minister, talking about Samuel Okudzeto Ablakwa. A statement was issued earlier today, and essentially asking that the diplomatic and consular missions accredited to the Republic of Ghana, that it has come to the attention of the ministry that some Ghanaian visa applications, that applicants are not treated appropriately when they visit these embassies, high commissions as well as these consulates for their appointments. And all of these instances, as we have showed to you, some of them being at the mercy of the vagaries of the weather. There are also credible reports suggesting that applicants have to wait for about 6 months to secure appointment in some cases. And in addition, there appears to be no avenue created to provide services to applicants who may require emergency services or may have further inquiries on their applications, or when they encounter challenges using websites for visa applications could be addressed. Now, these issues, according to this statement from the Foreign Affairs Ministry, is of deep concern to the ministry, and it will be appreciated if necessary action could be taken to ameliorate the challenges with a view to providing applicants with improved services. That's essentially what the Foreign Affairs Ministry is expecting of the various missions, the consular missions accredited to the Republic of Ghana. And we'll see how the response will be to this particular statement from the ministry. But there's more of this you can find on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. I want to say thank you so much for staying with us here on Ghana Tonight. On behalf of the rest of the team, do join us same time tomorrow, 10 p.m. But join the New Day team tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Start off with the news, also on 3FM 92.7. On behalf of the rest of the team, my name is Alfred Akanse. Thank you for staying with us and have a good night.
Ghana Tonight is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint. Superior durability, superior hiding, superior coverage, simply superior.
This program is rated PG. It contains scenes of brief nudity, mild violence, and strong language. Parental guidance is advised.
Quem cultiva a semente do amor segue em frente, não se apavora. Se na vida encontrar sabor, vai saber esperar a sua hora. Às vezes a felicidade demora a chegar. Aí é que a gente não pode deixar de sonhar.